Hey everybody, this is the Sliders Review, and I'm here today to talk to you about His Dark Material Season 1. Okay, let me interject for a second. This right here is new audio. Also, I had to correct some stuff in my video, so if the audio sounds a little off, that's probably why. Like if the tone suddenly is like a certain pitch and then it either goes up higher or lower, then that's probably why, because I had to insert some stuff. My bad. So cause when it comes to this entire series and the books and everything like that, it's very, very, very confusing. Okay. I've only watched this entire series twice in its existence. Once years ago, then the second time now. When I watched it the very first time, I was very, very confused. And then when I watched it a second time, I'm like, okay, this makes more sense. But then there are times where it kind of doesn't, and then when I read the stuff on like Wikipedia and this and that, and I'm learning more stuff, I'm like, oh, so that's what that really means and everything. So I might get tiny tidbits here and there, a little confusing. Like I think I say in the video, like a head fell from the sky. It didn't. And when Lord Asriel finds that head, he believes it came from like, the city above and stuff like that. That's why I thought like it fell out the sky, and he thought it was on Will's dad, but it was just like fake. He just said that so he can like get some funding and stuff. And I think at one point I say like they don't have cars in Laura's world, but they actually do. They just don't drive as fast as ours because they sit back in like an older time. And now the one thing I really want to clear up right here, right now, and that is, okay, there's a certain group of people in the series and everything, right? Now, I've never heard this term, Egyptian, before, never. And I apologize for saying it now, but I just want you to know what I'm talking about. But I have heard of another word. Now, if you ever watched one of my past videos from a long time ago, then you know I don't use that G word. It starts with a G and it ends with ipsy. So you probably know what I'm talking about. I think I talked about it on one of my Dairy Girl videos in season 2. And the reason why I don't use that term is because it is considered a slur for those type of people that was created back in the day. Now, some people in their own culture, they use that word. That's them, whatever, you know what I'm saying? But I don't use slurs of any kind, racial or homophobic, anything like that. I've stated that plenty of times on the show. That's why I never used the Q word for like homosexuality people and LGBT people, because back in my day, the Q word was a slur. So I just don't use it. However, after researching this entire series again and everything, because I have never heard that word before, but I've heard the other one, which is why I call them Roma people, because that's what they like to be called nowadays, I had no idea that word even meant that. Okay? I literally did not. And so I don't have time to edit it out this entire video because I say it constantly and I don't know exactly when and where I say it because I never really re-listened to the audio. Like after I record the audio and it sounds kind of okay, I just let that be that because it takes too long to like edit certain like noises out and all this other stuff, and I mispronounce a word and stuff like that. And so, I used to years ago back in the day on my other channel, but like with here, I'm just like, whatever. When the audio sounds okay, like whatever, I'll just roll with it and stuff like that, So I don't have time to go in there and edit out that word over and over and over. And I say it over and over and over and over again, because I am actually referring to these people in like the book and TV series and stuff. And so my apologies if you get offended by that. I literally had no idea. Blame the writer. Don't blame me. He's the one who put that in there and everything. Well, this came out in 2019 and it's an extremely good show. It's a fantasy show. And I've already talked about the first 2 episodes, so go watch that. But I'm going to make one little correction. I said there was no electricity in that fantasy world. There actually is. It's more 1920. So think of electricity like that. There are lights, there are control panels, there are like screens with like lights behind it. That's about it. They have old-fashioned like guns and like rifles. They have like pistols and stuff. I still haven't seen no cars, but they have like airships and stuff and hot air balloons and boats, and that's about it. They have cars, but much older models that don't move that fast. So it's not as advanced as our technology, but they do have some technology and machines and old school stuff, like stuff you'll see like in World War II or something like that. But anyways, this came out on HBO and also BBC, but you can watch it on HBO Max. The first two seasons are there. The third is coming out later this year, and it is the third and final season. Season 2 got held up a little bit because of the pandemic. I really love season 1. Season 2 kind of dragged a little bit for me. Also, it was a little confusing. Also, it wasn't as magical as the first season because they spend more time in the real world. And there aren't that many talking animals and stuff. And so for me, it was just kind of like, it was all right, but it just wasn't as cool as the first season. And so this show was created by Lori Borg. Borg from Star Trek and stuff. Now, she has said she wishes she can have like 9 seasons to flesh out the entire story. But, she did a really good job, because she's adapting each book. And so that's why it's ending in the 3rd season. And when it comes to the books, they were created by Philip Pullman, and there are a series of 3 books: Northern Lights, Subtle Knife, and The Amber Spyglass. And so, by mistake, I did go on Wikipedia to see what the last book is about. And so I'm like, oh, okay. But I quickly turned off the page because I didn't want to see. But I saw one person, I'm not even going to say, come on, things got to have stakes. You got to learn how to take a loss. You know what I'm saying? And stuff. But Philip is also the executive producer of the TV show and was that of the movie. Now, there was a movie back in the day. I've never seen the movie. I can't find it on streaming. I'm not about to rent it. So whenever it comes on free on streaming, then I'll check it out then. I am kind of curious to see how different it is from the TV show. I've seen some clips on YouTube, but I wasn't really impressed. And so, I know it stars Nicole Kidman. I remember her name this time. And also Daniel Craig. Also Eva Green, Ian McCain. I forget the dude from Bates Motel and The Good Doctor, or whatever that doctor show is called on ABC. Now, the actress who plays Laura, I forget the name of her in the movie. My bad. But the movie didn't do so well, and there was controversy with that of the Catholic Church. Pretty much, because see, this is a biblical type novels and stuff, kind of like Chronicles of Narnia. Heck, they both have talking animals, and there's 2 characters named Azrael. And so, of course, every time that something biblical gets adapted, they're never happy religious people. And things normally get canned or canceled or this and that. And so, I remember there was an ABC show that went biblical, but religious people wasn't happy about it because they took liberties with the show, and then it got canceled after the first couple of episodes. And so, Passion of the Christ seems to be the only thing religious people like. Well, that and the 10 Commandments and stuff. And so, yeah, the movie just didn't do too well. The planned sequels were scrapped. And so then they made a TV show many years later and stuff. Also, there was mixed reviews on the movie. But the Catholic Church didn't like them being depicted as bad guys, that what the director of the movie took liberties with. And so they was really furious and stuff like that. Anyways, the television show is 8 episodes long. in season 1. In season 2, there are 7. Probably couldn't make it to an 8th because of the pandemic and stuff. Now, this series stars Daphne Keen. You will best know her as X-23 in the Logan movie. And it also stars James McAvoy. I think that's his name. Yeah, that's it. The dude who played the young Professor X. And Ruth Wilson, who you best known for Luther. And Lin-Manuel Miranda, who did Hamilton, who created that. He's in this. And so one of the things that I found very fascinating about this show, because I love fantasy, and this was like up my alley. It deals in like, a period piece setting and everything with the whole 1920s, kind of 19th century kind of look. It had talking animals, it had magic, it had like adventure, it had like a chosen one, it had her going like this adventure. And man, this girl goes on a adventure. There was drama, there was emotion, there was like betrayals and stuff. So this was like really up my alley and everything in terms of like coolness. There was even a little action thrown in there, which was kind of cool. Now the CGI on the animals is very, very, very good. And yeah, remember, this is HBO. And so they had a TV show budget, not like a streaming budget and stuff, and also the BBC. The only problem with the CGI I have are the bears. They look kinda like computerish, you know what I'm saying? CGI, goobly goop. But other than that, it was really done well with the animals and stuff. And just the way they move. And they always looked like they was real on screen, except for that of the bears. Every time there was like a bear on screen, it just always had like a fakeness to it and everything. And so that was just kind of odd. But it was a TV show budget, but hey, they did a great job. Now, the movie, on the other hand, I've seen clips, like I said, and the CGI looks, from what I remember, this was a long time ago, from what I remember, it looks bad. It doesn't look all that great. And that was a movie budget and everything. But the concept of this show is fascinating. Every person in this world has a demon, an animal like spirit guide, companion. And so like, what's really fascinating about that is, yeah, it's in like a lot of religious texts and stuff like that, but basically what it is a human companion. And it's connected to you, it's bonded to you. It is literally your soul and everything. And, they get along with the companions very well. They give them compliments. They help them out solve like problems. They give them advice. They're even there to protect them physically and everything. A kid's demon will transform into any type of creature, or at least that's what I saw when it came to the main character. Adults and teenagers, however, that demon gets to choose one form and it gets to stay that for the rest of its life and everything. King Azrael, he has a snow leopard. This one lady had like a butterfly and stuff. And Marissa Coulter had a golden monkey, which a lot of people felt was kind of weird in the show. They're all like, why did she have like a golden monkey and everything? I don't know if that's ever explained. Maybe it'll be explained in the 3rd season, but it's a very unique creature. So is Lord Azrael's like snow leopard. Because most people's demons are the form of like birds or smaller creatures. One dude is a snake. And so like, the thing that you learn about this show, that if a person dies, your demon also dies. And when the demon dies, it just turns into like sparkly sparkles and goes up in the air. And if somebody kills your demon, well, then you die and everything. Now, there are witches in this show. We only get to see one in the 1st season, and they have demons as well. And their demons can separate and go far. See, here's the thing about a demon. It cannot leave your presence. If it leaves too far, it puts both the human and the demon in pain. They literally have to be next to each other. But there's an exception I told you in the second episode, the golden monkey. For whatever reason, Mrs. Coulter can separate, go a faraway distance from that of her demon. And they haven't explained why that is just yet. And so if you are from the human, like the normal our world and everything, of course there are no demons. But if you travel to their world, then you're automatically given one, which is really fascinating and stuff. And so people who have demons, they could be poor, they could be rich. It doesn't matter. There's no hierarchy except for that. And Lord, I can't pronounce this. The Magisterium or something like that is the people who pretty much rule everything. Think of them as politicians, elders, stuff like that. They want to think for everybody else and tell people how to live their life and stuff. And some people just want free will. Now, there are a group of people called the Egyptians and everything. They look more like a poorer class of people who travel on boats and live in their own like land and stuff like that. They also have demons as well. And the thing about the first book and also the season is that a lot of kids have been kidnapped. And I've already explained that in our review. Mrs. Coulter and the I can't say that name. I'm probably just gonna say magic. The Magisterium. I'm just gonna say it like that. Because she's part of it. They are kidnapping kids and running experiments on them, but nobody knows exactly what that is just yet. And one Egyptian boy named Billy, he has been captured, and his parents and his brother want him back badly. Now, Billy is friends with Laura. They don't explain how they're friends and everything, but they're friends. Also, Laura is kind of like able to figure things out really fast, and it's kind of like how. But then, it's revealed that the people in the library have educated her very well. So about, was it 47 or 27? 27 kids have gone missing, but not all of them Egyptian. So the lady whose name Maggie Ma, she Costa, she asked Lord Farr, if he's gonna return all the kids back and everything. So the Egyptian people are on a mission to find that of the missing kids. Laura is also on a mission to find Roger, her best friend, because he has been kidnapped by these people. Now, the people who kidnapped them are called gobblers and everything. And so when she escapes that of Mrs. Coulter, she later gets kidnapped herself. She gets kidnapped a lot. And so let's get into the third episode all the way to the 8th. Now, when Laura gets kidnapped by the gobblers, they are ambushed by that of Tony and a couple of other Egyptians. Tony recognizes Laura because she's friends with that of Billy. And he takes her back to that of their hideout and everything. And there she meets Maggie and everything, which she must not know who Maggie is, because it seems like the first time she's meeting her. And so Laura is at the point where she just doesn't trust nobody no more. She doesn't trust her uncle, even though she's looking for him. She doesn't trust Mrs. Coulter, who was really nice to her at first and later turned really evil towards her. So she doesn't trust the master at the library, because he pretty much sold her to that of Mrs. Coulter. And he tried to poison that of her father, Lord Asriel. See, he lied to her. See, Lord Asriel is an explorer and a scientist, and he lied to her all her life, saying that he was her uncle, but in fact he is the father. And so he lied, saying her parents died in one of those airplane type things that they have there, skyships. So anyway, when she's talking to Ma and everything, Maggie Maggie explains to her who her real mother is. It's Mrs. Coulter of all people. Laura is upset. She doesn't want to hear it. She just wants to run away. But then she explains the story. And the story of that is that Mrs. Coulter was married to another man, a very high-ranking man. They're both scholars and everything. And in came Lord Asriel, and he put the moves on Mrs. Coulter. And so they had an affair, and then baby Laura was born. And then so Mrs. Coulter gives him the baby. Well, in their world, a husband has the right to avenge his betrayal of like the wife, the affair. So he goes and tries to rough up Lord Asriel. Lord Asriel kills him, and now this puts a target on Lord Asriel's back. And so even so he is trying to get like funding and everything for this stuff. But even though he messed up, they still allow him to be like an explorer and a scholar and stuff like that. Mrs. Coulter, because she is a woman, did not fare so well. She has been looked down upon. Her ranking has went far down. And people just don't approve of her, even though she still works for them. But she still holds some sway because she has found friends in high places to climb back to the top of the social ladder and everything. And so when it comes to Laura, she is the chosen one. Prophecy has fallen upon her. See, it is said that during the Great Flood, that King Asriel, not King, but Lord Asriel, I'm getting the whole Narnia thing messed up. Lord Asriel went to the Scholastic Sanctuary, a library. The library is literally a sanctuary by the magisterium. They are not allowed to affect it in any kind of way. And so she's an orphan there. Roger's an orphan there. And so they have taught her as much as they can, making her the most educated person they can try to make her, and all this other good stuff. And so, but she's a very rambunctious girl. She loves to run. She loves to hide. She loves to play. She loves to climb on top of roofs and run on top of roofs and, you know, and just do all kind of adventurous stuff. And she wants to explore like that of her father. And when he doesn't take her with her, she is pissed. Now, it has been prophesied that she will be given a special tool. I can't even pronounce it, Alepha Thermometer or something like that. It's a golden compass and everything, which is why the movie was named that. And so it tells the truth, but she doesn't know how to use it. But she'll later learn how. And so she has been prophesied as a person who is supposed to, I think, destroy destiny or something like that. And so, like, it was said that, you know, someone will betray her, but it will be her who will betray herself. And there will be a young boy who will accompany her for her to, like, fulfill her quest and everything. But we don't know who this boy is, like, just yet, you know? And so she's a very, very, very important person. And many of the Egyptians know about her, and so do that of the witches. So while the bad people are looking for that of Laura on the Egyptians' boats and stuff, they can't fight her because she's hiding. But then she tells Tony and everybody, like, you know, what she found in her mom's, like, study. So they go to the hotel to look for like the papers, and they find the papers. Only problem is, in comes the monkey and Mrs. Coulter. Tony escapes out the window, but next thing you know, like, this was so weird. Miss Coulter fought the other boy. She hit him like a monkey and everything. It was kind of weird. It's like, so that's kind of odd. Like, you know, she fights like her demon. Now, here's the thing about demons. Whatever the gender is of the human, it's the complete opposite that of the demon. So if you're a female, you get a male demon. Don't know why it is, but it is. And so, like, she tells him, you know, tell her like where Laura is and all this other stuff. And he refuses to betray his family, so he kills himself and everything. Tony goes back, tells what happens. And so they're heartbroken that, you know, another one up has been like killed and stuff. So Mrs. Coulter, drunk and playing on the rooftop and everything like she wants to jump, she unleashes two metal bugs. And it's like, what the world is this thing? Because their technology ain't that advanced. Well, they're called spy flies. And so they fly out and they're looking for Laura and everything. And so, like, by this time, at some point, they do find her. They squish one, but they capture another. No, no, yeah, they squish one, but it doesn't like break. They just capture it. But the other one flies off. So now they know crap. The bad people are like after them and everything. And so, oh wait, I forgot to mention about something else. Dust. So dust is this weird entity that adults are afraid of. It doesn't harm kids, but it will kill that of an adult. Dust is technically that of original sin. It's kind of like the thing that separates the two worlds and like the city and the sky. It's very confusing because not a lot of people know what it is, and other people say they have researched it and stuff like that. It's what Mrs. Coulter is kind of after, and it's more importantly what Lord Asriel is like after and stuff. And so at some point in time, they make their way on landfall, and I forget why exactly. But then they befriend Lee, and he has a bunny for a demon. Now he's the dude who's played by the Hamilton guy. And so he's an aeronaut and he has a flying balloon. And he's also a hustler. He will only do things for money. And so like he's there and he sees like a bear that he knows. I forget the name of the bear. But like he's looking for something and he tries to persuade the bear about getting his armor back and this and that. Basically, things don't really go his way. Laura overhears him and wants his services. Now, Laura is a liar and will lie to get whatever she needs. And so she tells him that Lord Fair needs his help and stuff like that. And so while she's there, she overhears the thing about like the bear and all this other crap. And so the bear, he's really sad and upset because he no longer has his armor he made for him. And so like she helps him get it back. She asks her golden compass, where's the armor? Because at this point now she knows how to use it because she asked the man when the Egyptians to help her. And he tells her this and that. And basically at first it started to work with her. Yeah, I know I'm kind of bopping around there, but it's kind of hard. Like, this show is confusing. Like this show goes so many different places in just 8 episodes. Right? And so first, when she looked at it, she was kind of like zoning out, and that's the only way it will work for her. But then when she turns like the dolls and everything, she's able to use it and ask questions. I don't know how. It's very confusing. There's lots of symbols. Most of the symbols are animals. I don't know, but she tells them they have it. And they have it like underneath in the ground in that one building over there. So he tells her plain simple, like, look, they put up a fight, I'm gonna kill him. So he charges in there. We don't see him get his armor because that would have been too much CGI, but somehow he comes out wearing it and everything. And so now those two are buddies and friends and everything like that. And so she goes to Lord Fair and tells him that we have some backup in the form of a bear and everything. And then they have Lee, who's also going to help them as well. So they travel a long distance and they travel a long way. This girl is literally on a quest. But let's get into a couple of other characters and stuff. Miss Coulter is furious, but she's a very smart woman. And she knows Laura in episode 2 was holding on to her purse dearly. She knows there's something in there. She knows the master of the library gave her something, but she don't know what. So her and the magistrate and people, they go to the library and they ransack it. This is sacrilege, and this pisses off her superiors and everything. But she finds something she's looking for. She was hoping to find something illegal there. They find these old books old books that teach you how to use a golden compass and everything. Now, the golden compasses are only given out by the magisterium people. So other people are not allowed to have them. But the one that the golden compass that Lyra has belongs to her father. And so they literally sacked that entire place. She goes back and tells the people and all this other stuff. Now, she goes back and forth to this new location where they have to kidnap kids and everything. And so when they have to kidnap kids over there, they she goes there talking about, kids, I'm gonna take you to a magical place, a good place and everything. Well, Roger recognizes her from the party they had in episode 1. And so she has them write letters to their loved ones and everything. Of course, he writes to Laura. And Mrs. Coulter knows who he is. And since Billy's too young to write, Mrs. Coulter writes for him. And she says she's going to give these letters to their loved one. As soon as she walks out, she burns them. And so, stinking heifer. This woman is cold-hearted. Very cold-hearted. And maniacal, and just like, she's really good at like pulling strings, and she will get whatever she wants. Her monkey is ruthless and everything. And so, like, and she's looking now for Laura and everything, like the bug comes back. And so their location is about to get like found out. So they have to keep being on the move, the Egyptian people are. And so the facility where they run experiments, nobody knows exactly why that is. But somehow one of the little boys gets loose. That little boy is Billy. And so Laura, she finds Billy and she takes him back to that of his family. He's acting weird. They find him without his demon and everything, and they don't understand where it's at. It's like nowhere to be found, and they don't understand how he's able to live without his demon being next to him, because when it's far away and excruciating pain and stuff. So when they take him back, he is slowly dying. Why? Because 1, he's separated from his demon, and 2, he's been out in the cold for a long time. It's winter time now, and the facility they have him in is very, very cold and icy and stuff. And so, like, as he passes and everything, the family is heartbroken by this. Laura is heartbroken by this. Maggie and Lord Fair, they now want blood and say they have to fight, they have to kill and everything. They have to rescue them kids tenfold now. But they need to find out where they're at. And then so, like always, Laura gets kidnapped somehow. And so when she's kidnapped, she's taken to a building, that same place where the rest of the kids at. When she sees the uniform they make her put on, so they make her strip down to see if she's healthy. And then so they she recognized the uniform is the one Billy has, so she knows where they're at. She does not plan on staying there. She plans on escaping. Now, it's a bunch of nurses and scientists that work there. Some of the nurses act kind of weird, like they had a lobotomy and everything. When she goes to eat dinner, she sees Roger, but she doesn't make a scene. And so one of the little girls that's at Laura's table gets taken away. The girl is terrified, but we don't know why. And it probably has something to do with why Billy didn't have his demon. And so, like, when Laura is like talking to, like, the doctors and the scientists, because they're running tests on her to see if she's like, healthy and stuff, she starts talking about dust. She's all like, are y'all separating people from their demons? Are you trying to collect the dust from them? Like, what are y'all doing and stuff? They're trying to play off like they don't know. Well, she gave them like a fake name and everything like that. And then she finds out Mrs. Coulter is coming to visit. Laura is scared, and the rest of the kids that are there, the girls, help hide her and stuff. So then, like, they take her and they're gonna separate her from her demon. They throw her in a cage. Those were the blueprints. I can't talk. Blueprints that Mrs. Coulter had. Laura is like freaking out and everything. And so like she's screaming, she's hollering, she's all like, my mother is here and she's gonna get you and stuff like that. She sees her mother up through the glass and she's banging on it, talking about, "Mother, save me." Her mom is pissed. See, the thing about Mrs. Coulter, she's evil, but there's one thing she cares about: Laura and everything. She makes them stop the experiment, and it's a scary scene because there's like, hey, there's two cages, right? And this giant machine. And so the kids in one, the demons in the other, and there's this giant razor blade, kind of like a guillotine, that's about to separate like the boxes, and it slowly goes down. But it got stopped because Mrs. Coulter made them stop. And so as Miss Coulter is trying to be as nice as she can, Laura's being like very pissy and everything towards her. And she explains and everything, what all happened. But then she's all like, "So what did the master give you?" She wants that golden compass. So Laura tricks her into thinking that she has it. But Laura keeps everything, man. So she keeps like the little tinfoil thing, the tin like box that had like the spy fly in there. And when it unleashes, it scares Miss Coulter and she bolts. Laura does. Laura pulls like the fire alarm, and the kids think, okay, it's another drill. They have to come out in their winter coats and stuff. She finds Roger and tells him to like free like the zombie looking kids that she saw. Because see, they found when she was snooping around, she caused a distraction when she was snooping around at first. And so she saw a bunch of demons in cages by themselves. And then she found a bunch of kids separated from the demons in another room with their heads shaven, and they look lifeless, soulless, and everything. So while all this craziness is going on, she's trying to free the kids, but there's a problem. The guards, they have like these giant wolves and guns and everything. And as soon as the kids are trying to escape, here comes the guards. Until the Egyptians show up, and it's a huge battle and everything. Them Egyptians ain't playing, man. They got bladed weapons and they just stabbing and slashing and gashing the crap out of people. Boy, when Maggie Costa saw this one, the doctor scientist dude, she's all like, "Why did you do that to my son?" He's all like, "Look, man, they forced me to do that," and everything. She's all like, "You killed my son." As soon as I saw her hands go on his head, I knew he was going to get that neck snapped, and he did. She was not playing around. And so while all this is going on, Mrs. Coulter has been locked in the room, and she crawls through the ventilation system, and she's spying on everything going down, the huge battle and everything. And she's wise not to like interfere. And she's especially wise not to interfere because the old dude who told Laura how to use like the compass, he had a lover back in the day in the form of a witch and everything. And like, but he's an old man now, and she's like still young looking. So she helps out and everything. She's one of the few witches that will help out because some of the other witches work for the magisterium and everything. She swoops in and she's just killing people left and right as Laura is about to get hurt. She tells like Roger, free the zombie kids, right? And Laura's all like, "I need to cause like chaos and destroy that machine." But you know what she does after that? She puts on her clothes and everything, the clothes she came there in. And so like at some point, she overheard them say, "Keep the doors open when the machine is on, it'll go crazy." So she's like, "All right, let's make it go crazy and stuff." So she opens the door, she starts hitting all the buttons. She blew up that entire machine. And so her mom told her why they're running these experiments. Her mom says that they basically want their souls back from their demons. They don't want their demons and stuff. They think dust is like original sin, and dust is somehow the creation of like these demons and all kind of other crap. And so they think dust is like so evil and stuff like that. And they just want their souls back and everything. They want their free will and everything. And so that's why they want to separate themselves from them. But that's the problem. When you separate, you die. And so they've been working on different solutions to prevent that. And it results in people being like zombified. Like, remember when I said Laura went to go put on her clothes? She got stopped by a nurse. And she told the nurse, "You're just like the rest of them. You had your demon removed." And she's all like, "Do you remember the name of your demon?" And then the lady was in a weird trance and kind of remembers it and stuff. So when the kids get like rescued and everything, it's a good moment. And after this, we don't see the Egyptian people like no more and stuff. They finally like fulfilled their task and everything. And so like oh yeah, also Mrs. Coulter didn't want to like interfere because yeah, the bear was there and stuff. And so, but this is what Miss Coulter does that's strange. Remember I told you she says that they want their soul back from their demons and stuff. She also says that as a kid, everything's fine when you're a demon, but when you turn into like a teenager and when you get into adult age, something different happens to you. Something takes over. You're different in everything. So I didn't know exactly what she meant until she saw that nurse and she asked where her daughter was and she said she didn't know. She starts choking and strangling that of the nurse in a very animalistic kind of way. And then remember when I said when Laura trapped her in that room, her mom screamed like a monkey and everything, like in a very primal rage kind of stuff. So basically, I think the traits of your animal comes out in that of the person probably. And the more you let it, the more you turn into that and stuff. Oh, it's something like that. Now, Laura's new quest is to save that of her father. Where is he? Well, it's been revealed he's in a bear prison because Mrs. Coulter has some sway with that of the bears and everything. So she needs the bear that she's with to help. So they're all in like the air balloon until something goes wrong. Roger's there too. He's gonna help. Well, they get attacked by some kind of weird monster looking creatures. And so the aeronaut dude, Lee, is told by the witch, you must protect Laura at all costs. She is important and everything. And so like he's trying to save her and everything. The bear's trying to save him. But then the door opens and Laura literally falls out. But she's not the only one that falls out. Somehow she survived falling out from the sky. Don't know how, but she did. And so the whole air balloon crashes and somehow everybody survives. Well, of course, Laura is Laura and she gets captured again by the bears and everything. So now she's kind of like crap. She's in there with some other dude and they can't find her father. And the reason is he tricked the bears and everything. And somehow he arranged for them to give him like a laboratory on like a mountainside and everything. It's the laboratory he's been working at all secretly and stuff. Now we never got to see her father get captured, runtime and everything like that. So when Laura was talking to her bear friend, he told her that bears are very smart and they can't be tricked by humans and everything. So being Laura, she's gonna lie her way out of there because but she doesn't know exactly how until she finally thinks of a way. And it's a weird way she thinks of lying, but it works. She tells the king bear that she is that other bear's demon. He's all like, bears can't have human demons. She's like, oh, but you can. See, if you can ask a witch, they can grant certain things with their magic. Because I think one of the bears wanted to be turned human or something like that. So she tells him and everything. She's all like, I don't want to be the other bear's demon. I want to be your demon and everything. And he's all like, well, as soon as that bear comes here, he's going to get killed by the guards. And he's like, but no, he wants to challenge you for like, the throne and everything and blah, 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 blah. And so she's trying to buy him some time. So he tells her, all right, fine. Tell me something that only a demon can tell me about myself. He's like, what was the first animal I killed? So she tricks him again. So like, oh, I need to go in the other room and conjure up my powers and blah, 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 stuff like that. And so like she uses her compass and she finds out the answer. It's his own father. Now, here's the interesting thing. Remember Laura's bear that she's friends with and everything? The reason why she found him in the marketplace down by the docks is because he's been exiled. And he's been exiled because he's killed another bear. You're not supposed to do that. Now, the king did not let nobody know he killed his father. Now, the bear that Laura likes is a prince. So when he goes there to challenge him, they fight to like the death and everything. But he ends up getting his butt kicked until he sees Laura had tricked him and he's going to kill Laura. Then the bear rises up and he kills the crap out of that dude. He is now king, and he renames Laura. She no longer has her last name of her father. He has now named her Silver Tongue and everything. And so he takes her to Roger and everything, and they find Lee. And so they all head to that of like the lab of like, her father. And this is where things get dicey. When she shows up there, her dad is furious. He's all like, I never sent for you. I don't want you and all this stuff. She's heartbroken. She doesn't understand. Like, she's journeyed halfway across the world to find his behind, to get to the Northern Lights and everything. And she doesn't understand, like, why he's acting this way. Because they're from, like, Oxford, like, the place that he taught at. No, he used to go to college at was Oxford. So somewhere in like London, England, something like that. And they went all the way to like the Northern Lights and everything. And she doesn't understand why he's acting this way. So she's pissed. Cause he's all like, I never sent for you and blah, 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 and all this other crap. And so, but when he sees Roger, he's happy all of a sudden. And we don't know why. And so I'm thinking to myself, oh wait, there's supposed to be a boy who's supposed to help her in her journey and for her destiny. Maybe he thinks Roger's it, but I know from the season 2 it's not him, it's somebody else. And also in season 1, who I had not mentioned yet, it's him. So I'm like, well, what's the deal? So they talk a little bit, and she's still a little niffed, and she's like, here's your compass and everything. I'll be leaving in the morning. And so he's like, nah, keep it and everything. But she's mad and everything. She just doesn't want nothing to do with him. So she's hanging out with like Roger at night. And then her dad talks to her, and then she sleeps on the couch. But then when she wakes up, Roger and her dad are gone, and only the assistant is there. She doesn't understand what's going on. And the assistants are like, I have to get you out of here. The magisterium coming in and everything. She's all like, where's Roger and where's my dad? And she realizes something. This is why I'm saying she's too smart, because somehow she figured it out. She said energy, because her dad started talking to her about dust and talking about how they can harness it and use it and all this, how like blah, blah, and stuff like that. And so in order to get there, you have to cross into the city in the sky, which is our world. And so she figures, wait a minute, Roger must be energy for whatever it is that her dad needs. So she breaks away from the assistant and she gets the bears. And so they head to like, where the father is. He's up on the mountaintop. The magisterium's coming in. They're trying to shoot the bears down and stuff. They kill a couple of them, but Laura and her bear friend, they make it to like near like a bridge, but it's too narrow. So she goes alone, and she's trying to climb on the mountaintop and everything to get to that of her father. And so, but it's hard because it's cold, like it's winter, there is snow, and there's a mountain, and she's a little girl, you know what I'm saying? And so she's trying her best, and her dad is with Roger lying to him. He throws him in a cage. There are 2 cages and stuff. He throws the demon in one, and he throws Roger in the other one. And it's like, crap, Roger knows what this is. It's similar to the machine, like in the facility. So what the world is her dad doing and stuff? Her dad is such a rude, mean, mysterious man. As soon as she makes it there, she's pleading with her father. She's trying to get to Roger. He's pulling down a lever, a giant guillotine and everything. As soon as she makes it to the cage and grabs Roger's hand, they look each other in the eye, and then boom, the dad pushes completely down on the guillotine and separates Roger from his demon. It is such a heartbreaking scene, especially when you see what happens to the demon. The demon disappears. which means Roger literally died and everything. And so next thing you know, you see the portal in the sky with a beam of light and everything. And we don't know what the world's going on. He has now created a portal into our world, and he plans on going there. Lara is just like heartbroken and everything. To think that her father is just as cruel as her mother. Well, the mother shows up. See, Lara has been incapacitated. When the process happened and the demon died and the portal happened, it created like a burst of energy and knocked her on the ground. Her mom shows up. The dad is talking to like the mom is all like, come with me, this is exactly what we wanted. We wanted to destroy the magisterium and everything. We wanted to like do whatever it is with dust and everything. Come with me to this world. And they start kissing because they still love each other. Even their demons are cuddling with each other, which is kind of creepy. But she tells him no, her daughter is in this world and that's the only thing she wants. And so he's all like, all right, see you. And he just travels into our world and everything, leaving his daughter behind. This man is heartless and stuff. Even the evil mom is more caring than that. But when Laura comes to, she hides and everything. And so Laura goes to like a dead Roger. She's heartbroken. We see a tear coming out Roger's eye. He cried before he died. Like I said, it is like when you see this, it is breaking and everything. And you know, because Roger was such a nice little kid. He worked in the kitchen. He is an orphan. He never cared for his parents. He just cared about Laura and everything. So Lara doesn't know what she's gonna do, and then her demons all like, we have to go to the other world. You know, we have to like stop your father. And he's all like, maybe dust isn't as evil as all these adults say. Maybe it's good and everything. But we have to stop your father from getting the dust and everything. So she travels through the portal and everything. And she enters into our world and it ends. But as soon as she enters into our world, another is entering and everything. Well, technically, okay, here's the thing. It's not really our world she entered. There's a bridge between their world and our world. Kind of like a pocket dimension. So it's like their world, it's like this pocket dimension, and it's our world. And this pocket dimensions, and it's like a little town and everything. I can't even pronounce it. Not even gonna try it. But like I said, when she entered, so did somebody else from our world enter into that. That is Will. I have not gotten into Will yet. Will is the dude who's supposed to help her in her mission and everything. He is the key to like everything. So it's getting to him. So Mrs. Coulter, she has a friend, Lord Carlo Borrell. And so he's this very mean, very clever man with a snake for a demon. He's the one who killed the journalist when she was talking to Lara in episode 2. He would do anything for Mrs. Coulter and everything. He has the ability to travel to both worlds. He found a pocket opening, a portal, somewhere in an abandoned building. And he's pretty savvy with our world and everything. Like he's getting used to it and everything. The clothes, the cell phone technology, how to drive like a car and everything. He's been traveling from our world back and forth. He is looking for a man. Something Perry. I think his name is John Perry. He is the father of Will. There's something very mysterious with this man and everything. I think Lord Asriel said he found the head of this man, but never did. This man was born in our world, Colonel Perry, and he was born in our world, and somehow he traveled to that of Laura's world, and that's where he got the demon and everything. There's something very mysterious with this man, and the Magisterium wants him, Coulter wants him, everything, right? And so, like, while he's over in our world, he's trying to find this man. So he goes looking through their family to find things. Well, his wife is mentally ill and has been placed in mental hospitals and mental ward, stuff like that. And so she has a son, Will Perry. Will is just a kid at high school. Kids pick on him because his mom is mentally ill. And so like he doesn't like him when she comes to like the school and everything like that. Well, at some point, Carlo met with her and stuff. And so it freaked her out and she went to the school looking for her son. He doesn't believe her because of her illness and stuff. At some point in time, see, Carlo has been working with these two men. One's like a PI and everything, and a good hacker, and the other one is a cop. And so they're getting close as to finding what he wants to find out, where the whereabouts of this man. And so Will's mom revealed to him that she has a bunch of money stashed somewhere, and then also Will's dad wrote him letters and stuff. Now Carlo wants these letters and everything because he thinks it might lead him to where this man is at. It's so funny. One time when Carlo was in our world, his car got tons of tickets on it. Then it had a boot, and he didn't understand what the boot was and stuff because their technology is so much different from ours and like cars and stuff. Anyway, he breaks into their place. They search and they can't find nothing. Will gets his mom out of there and goes live with his coach. Will goes back there, and in the middle of the night, Will goes back to get the letters and the money. And he gets attacked by the hacker. So he punches that dude that he's been training in boxing. He kills this guy and he flees. We see Will go to the coach's house to get his mom, but he just leaves her there. And so Carlo instructed the cop to put out an APB on Will. So cops are now all looking for him and stuff. Will now knows what his mom is saying is somewhat true, but this crazy man looking for them and stuff. So he just plans on living on the streets by himself until he sees that of a cat. He sees the cat go into like this abandoned area. And then when he goes into that abandoned area, I don't know why he followed the cat, but then he sees a portal open and he decides to go through it and everything. And so it's the same one that Carlo has been using. And so it ends, with him and Laura both going through there. And at some point they will meet in season 2. Now, Carlo, when he went back, he has a friend that's a scholar. And he wants to know, because see, the reason why they're looking for the dad is because the boy has been prophesized and stuff along with Laura. And the boy is supposed to be in possession of a very special knife and everything. So that's so the scholar tells Carlo that. So now they have to look for the boy and they have to look for the knife in the second season. Now this knife is very, very, very special. But I'll get into that whenever I get into season 2. So yes, this is a very fascinating show. It reminds me a little bit of Chronicles of Narnia and everything. I mean, they're both going through portals into a different world of talking animals. Another person is named Azrael and everything. It's almost like a ripoff, to tell you the truth, and stuff. And they're both biblical stories and everything. So it's, I guess he pulled a J.K. Rowling and everything. But yeah, it's just a very fascinating show. Now, one thing I like about this show is extremely diverse. It has tons of white characters, black characters. Laura, the actress Daphne Keen, is British, white, and also Spanish. She was born in Spain. And Will is like mix of white and black. Lin Morel, he's like Hispanic and everything. And so I really like this diversity and stuff. And also like Laura Fair, he's black. Carlo, he's black, and everybody else is like white. Now in the movie, however, it's typical Hollywood, which means every single last person in the movie is white and everything. Even the voice actors for like the animals and everything. And I'm just kind of like, dude, like what is up with that? So it's nice that this show is diverse. It's more well received than that of the movie, and I'm glad it did very well. And of course, it is on DVD. Alrighty, well, I'll talk to y'all later. Bye.